You know, there's a saying that goes on that says, God don't like ugly, but he damn sure ain't too fond of pretty either. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, but woo, I don't know if you are listening to this, but you guys have seen my last video about the hot dumpster fire of Golden Globes. I hate to say this, but I was right. And get this under any circumstance that I need to tell you, I don't celebrate the downfall of a black woman. And it's not even that Misha's a downfall. This is going to be my follow-up video, of course. But let me first give out my shout outs to all my subscribers, my Discord community. We will be trying to open up a Twitter account soon if I don't get banned off of Twitter. My IP don't. As well as shout out to Yashu's Playground. And same to you, Carrie, my editor. You've been doing this for me for a while now. Hopefully, we can get some more subscribers and things like that. But oh well, this isn't family friendly content. But let's get back to the thing. I told you guys, not everybody, but I told you guys what was gonna happen. And I don't, like I said, while I don't want to celebrate a loss of a black woman winning, not winning an award, I kind of do, because the situation is, I'm a lesbian black woman. Okay. I do understand what it means to be black than more than, certain woke ass niggas that's around here, like, are proclaiming and projecting, but the situation is, I'm a gay black woman too. I have a double stigma on me as a lesbian and a black woman. So when I see stuff like what Misha was doing, it fucked with me. And it fucked with me in a big way, to where I was just like, oh my God, I already got to deal with this from the white content creators killing off their gays, and I have to deal with you, a sister, somebody who should understand that this is going on and that this is a thing. So, I mean, it put me in some kind of place to where I started doing these YouTube videos. But with enough of that said, I told you guys, she wasn't gonna win. And for anybody talking about if she got snubbed, no, the fuck she didn't get snubbed. She didn't get snubbed. There were other people who won. There was Daniel Kaluuya who won, and there was Chad Boseman that won. There were certain black people who won. So for people talking about, oh, it was a snub, no, it's not a fucking snub. There was so many people of color who won. And not every black person can win every fucking thing, and not everything that we do is a work of art. Like I said, thus in term, Misha, it was a hot dumpster fire. That show was. The only thing I respect Misha Green for is the issue that she had the somewhat integrity to make Ruby and Christina a thing, because we did not get that kind of parallel or scope of character, especially a big black beautiful woman such as Ruby, with this little skinny white girl who's rich. We never see those parallels. We never do. So I will thank Misha for that portion. But for the rest of it, it's a piece of shit. The script is horrible. The message was not sent well. And the voters who voted on the Golden Globes had thought so as well. But we're not even just going to get on the unlicensed fact that it was just that situation with we were going to get on the situation with, it wasn't that just issue with Misha and our content. There's a deeper complexity and a deeper thought process into her content that had made Lovecraft Country fail the way it did. I mean, there's a number of things why she played herself. This is the thing when keeping it woke goes wrong. when keeping it woke goes wrong. This is another case of when keeping it woke goes wrong. I know I'm repeating this, but I'm repeating this because some of y'all need to get it through y'all heads. This is a case when keeping it woke goes wrong. You know, I mean, I'm not here to rant or utilize, but fuck, this is what I do. Okay? And the situation is, she was homophobic, she was transphobic, and she was a colorist. Her work was that. Misha Green, personally, I don't know if she's like that, but her work was homophobic, transphobic, and colorist. It really was. You take everything from Letty being the one who had got victory toward the end, or she defeated the white devil, and you parenting and paralleling and uplifting this light-skinned black woman who had did nothing in the story to benefit the story at all, except for make things worse. You're gonna say that Letty was the hero? And you guys are only saying that she's the hero because she busted out some car windows from a racist person. The real hero was Ruby, because Ruby had sacrificed her life to make sure that something was right. Come on, man. Even in that kind of portion, Ruby would be considered a hero. Okay? There was a lot of things, too, where her lore made no sense. Her lore made absolutely no sense. If Christina's already immortal, how the fuck could she be stopped at that damn point? She already completed her project. So, I mean, what rolls off in this kind of sense is what goes on. And, you know, there's a lot of things too. I mean, even with, and don't say, oh, the homophobia, it's not real. Montrose is, just because Montrose is the only living gay person in Sammy does not mean he's correct. Montrose crazy ass is still a drunk. Just because he lost his son does not mean that it stopped his alcoholism. It did anything to his temper. It did. Come on, wake the fuck up, people. Wake the fuck up. And there's another thing that I felt was a big thing to where a lot of the voters on the Golden Globes did not want to vote this dumpster fire in. And it was because there was a line that Hippolyta said on Hippolyta's journey, which I love that episode. It was gorgeous. That episode was gorgeous. Navigating Hippolyta's hurt and her pain and how she feels or how she felt. That was deep. I'm not going to sit here and lie. That was deep, especially when it comes to her finding her journey again. But I'm going to tell you what turned off White. I'm going to tell you something. The thing with Misha is she went woke, and not saying she went broke because she still is making her money. But, and get your coins, sis, get your coins. But next time, watch at what rate you do get your coins. You know, not all money is good money. I'm just going to suggest that to her. But, the thing is, she did alienate white people with this show. We already knew it was going to be alienated. It was going to alienate the racist, but it alienated white allies too, to a certain extent. Because when I get this with the situation with Hippolyta, and Hippolyta says this line on Hippolyta's journey, getting back to that, Hippolyta was like, sometimes I just want to kill white people. And while all of us black folks do feel a certain way like that, you don't put that in your fucking art. I'm sorry, you do not do that. I get where Hippolyta was at, but to the viewer, especially if you're a white average viewer, and you say you're an ally and you don't have racist intent at all. You're socially conscious as best as you can be to a white person. And you hear a line like that when you're watching this show, you're kind of like, oh my fucking God. And it makes you turn off the TV. And it makes people not like it. And you know how white people are, black folks. To my black viewers, you know how they are. They go and tell each other and stuff. And they're like, oh, she said that. She made a character that says she want to kill all white people. What the hell kind of subliminal shit is that? And even though they're white allies, you've offended them in some kind of way. And you know white people are sensitive. No offense to my white viewers. You know they are sensitive. So when Misha did that, she alienated herself. Her content, her art alienated herself. And I know that art is supposed to be provoking and thought processing, and you're supposed to take these deep dives into art. But this was just shock value, or torture porn, as they like to say. It was shock value torture porn. You don't say stuff like that in your art and don't think that there's not going to be any kind of consequence to that. And for some of these mega fans and these homophobic Lovecraft Country fans, yes, I said it, homophobic, transphobic, and colorist kind of fans who claim that they black and they down with the people. Honey, not all of us can win awards. And understand what the fuck you're watching and what you're looking and what you're viewing and what you're thinking. Not everything is a snub towards black people. I'm not saying, oh, get out of the victim mentality, but don't think because you didn't win or your people didn't win that it's a victim, that, oh, it's because we got stuff. It's because it's black. And like I said in my last video, The Crown was probably going to possibly win. Because The Crown, everybody loved Princess Diana. Simple as that. And I believe it might be her anniversary of her death possibly coming up. I think it was in April or something like that. I don't know. Don't correct me. I don't pay attention to British royalty like that. It just does not. It does nothing for me. Like how it does with everybody. But The Crown was going to win. I knew it was going to win. Because this is Princess Di's story. Now, mind you, was Princess Di's story good by the show, Netflix show? No, it wasn't. It wasn't good. I mean, all the nominees weren't good except for The Mandalorian. That's it. It was pretty much who's the best out of the most shittiest performance of everything. I will say that, except for Mandalorian. Mandalorian was good. We're going to put that we're going to shelve that. And she couldn't even pull that off. See, I don't believe in kissing white folks ass at all. Like y'all shoes playground. I don't pay white people that much attention in my life either. Like y'all shoes said, I don't pay that much attention to white people and their white problems and their white issues. I really don't. I really don't. But the part that I'm trying to say is too, you could be black, you could be woke, but you need to have a balance. And Misha Green had no balance on this show. She had no balance with this show. Having a little girl choke out some white woman who's already, I don't know where the fuck Christina was at. I don't know. Her magic system didn't even really describe to us whether she was human or whether she was still immortal or whether she wasn't. And, you know, your magic system was fucked up. Nobody understood that. Misha, nobody understood it. Along with the other overlining issue, as well as you're talking about you want to kill all white people. I mean, come on. Like, you're saying stuff like that. And also too, you're projecting an antagonist, like Christina Braithwaite as an ally. I mean, comparative to Titus or, comparative to Lancaster, who have done black harm to black bodies within white men, I believe, should have been fucking the focal point of this season. White men should have been that focal point. They really should have. White men should have been that focal point to talk about this stuff. But instead, you decided to do a white woman and say how white feminism is the issue. And white feminism is an issue. And yes, it can be filmed about. Yes, it can be talked about. Yes, it can make waves amongst the community. But the way that you went about it was not good. And the agency that you stripped from other people, Misha Green, is what didn't make you win these Golden Globes. This is what didn't. You decided to proprietary a story based on sacrificing black mothers, which I will be doing a Lovecraft Country and how Misha Green failed black mothers. I'll be doing that for a Mother's Day special. When Mother's Day comes up, because it's one of my favorite days. I'm not a mother, but I do love my mom a lot. So it's one of those situations where, you know, Misha didn't do right with black mothers. She didn't show the strength and integrity and the courage and the grace and the passion that black mothers have. She did that wrong. Another situation that she did wrong was all the gay people died except for just Montrose. And even so, if it was Montrose was a self-hating gay who was an alcoholic and abusive towards his son or not son. And then decides to say, all I wanted to be was a father. That don't make no damn sense. She did that. She didn't know what to do with her antagonist, Christina. I didn't know whether this bitch was helping him half of the time or trying to kill them half of the time. But I found out that she was trying to help them more than kill them. And just to like Yashu said, the show suffered from lack of imagination. It really did. It suffered from a lack of imagination. And you pissed off liberal white people. Liberal white people are still white people at the end of the day. That's the thing that Misha needs to understand. When liberal white people are still white people. And the reason why I'm going to tell you liberal white people is because that's who mostly deals in Hollywood. Liberal white males. That is still predominantly a boys' game up there. But it's liberal white males. And liberal white males are all on these shows called, they're all on black shows. I'm just giving you guys a tidbit of advice here. Screenwriters and non-screenwriters and all the above, and writers and all. What you need to understand to black writers and black content creators and artists, Hollywood is still predominantly white. And the people in power in positions are white liberal males, but they are still white. And when you say in your art, in your content, that you want to kill all white people, and say these little words, and you have a white woman who's been helping a black family be killed in the most brutalist of ways by a 14-year-old little girl, there's some problems. There's some problems that they're going to have with that. There's some problems. And I don't give a fuck what some of y'all is saying about how I feel about Christina at all. Y'all are not as woke as you think if you cannot recognize what help is from another person of color versus that. And versus what's hurting you. Okay? That's up to you if you want to fall into that trap. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, like I said, I am a black woman. I believe in doing the right thing. I believe in balance. I don't believe in this imbalanced kind of nature behavior that Misha Green put out. And she lost the Golden Globes because of that. She lost the Golden Globes because of homophobia, transphobia, and colorism. She did. And only real woke people, real woke black folks, know about the colorism. Real black folks know when to be down with your people, but then also call your people out for some of the shit. See, some of y'all woke folks, y'all not woke like y'all think. Y'all think that every black person is supposed to win everything. Every black person's content and creation is right. It isn't. And the situation is, I will be doing news on season 2 because we're hearing and we're trying to push for season 2. But I want the issue to be known that Misha has to come better with it. She has to come better than what she did with this season. She has to. She has to acknowledge her mistakes. She has to acknowledge that she was too much with it. She has to acknowledge it. And also, too, she has to acknowledge the fact of Journey's not a good actress. Wumi was a way better actress than Journey. Journey was just hollering and hooping every goddamn where. Overacting. Jonathan Majors was acting with his nostrils all damn day. I swear, that boy, oh God. He is not cute, but that's just me. He was acting. The only two bitches that toe it up was Abby Lee, Womey, and that's it. And, well, of course, Michael K. Williams, a given. Michael K. Williams was brilliant with what he did, too. I felt his role, too. Montrose did grow on me. But, it's just that, there's a lot of backyard politics that I do want to talk about, that I do believe that was going on in the show and behind the scenes. I felt like there were two different groups, with the show. I really did. I know it's not a reach, but it's not that far off either. But I felt like there were two separate groups in the show. You had the main character cast doing their thing, and you had the British people and the other Europeans who were black and not black over doing their other thing. And the other people who were the Europeans and the British people and all the people who weren't from this country, which is Abby Lee, Womey, of course, Michael, Jordan, of course, and as well as the lady who I think is Dell or something like that. I don't know her, the actress's name, but it's funny how they got Black history right when people who are African American on the other side, like Michael K. Williams, Jonathan Majors, and Journey, they didn't even get it right. And there is a thing as well too where I'm just really frustrated with this show, and what made me really frustrated with this show, it wasn't just that it was the show that made me frustrated, ladies and gentlemen. The show didn't just make me frustrated. That I can get over what the show is. I can get over what the art was. I really could. But what made it frustrating for me about this show was the interviews. And I don't know if you did, but I watched the podcast after every Sunday. I watched the podcast. It was on Spotify. I had Spotify. And I watched the Lovecraft, or heard or listened to the Lovecraft Country podcast. And when I'm listening to Misha, she didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. I mean, there's a clip where she talks about Yamiya and killing the two-spirited person off. And she says she didn't think about it that well. It was one of those things of, she claims she didn't say she didn't think about it well. She says she took careful consideration about it and decided that Montrose killing Yamiya, the only two-spirited person, or, I want to say transsexual, because no, she's more intersex. It's because Montrose didn't want to be seen as an other, because he was already an other as a black man. So he decided to harm another person within his community who's intersexed, because he's a gay man, because he didn't want to be seen as an other. See, it's those excuses on her interview that are in that misspeaking on interviews that is just so disturbing. And that's what pisses me off, and why I say what I say and I harp on this show, because it's your interviews too. It's the same way with Journey, when she was asked by the Nerdist, what do you think about colorism on there? Because we all noticed the colorism on there, or some of us noticed the colorism, not everybody, but some of us few woke individuals noticed the colorism. Journey sitting there acting like it didn't exist. She said there was a social caste system, but she didn't elaborate or even correct the fact that, yes, we should have focused on colorism a little bit more. Instead, she gave this old generic stank ass answer. Oh, we're all children in the eyes of God. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? See, it's not so much as with Lovecraft Country that I hated what the content had to say, aside from Ruby and Christina. I got what it meant overall. You pass on the sacrifice. But the situation is, it's the after interviews that pissed me off. And it was the message that you wanted to confer overall. And you wanted to confirm overall. Is you wanted to confirm that all the situations with black communities, black families, black lives, everything is worthless. I mean, at the end of the day, even if you wanted to confirm black love, why was it that Letty and Tick go in to get baptized and all the above before they do their final battle with the white devil, and I mean this in so many quotations. Why do you do that but you don't marry your baby mama? I mean, it is 1950s. It's still very much traditionalist in the 1950s. So why didn't you do that? It's those little instances and those little gaps that it's just like, is this what really the black community is about? It's not about that, because I've seen all shades as somebody who is a black woman and a black lesbian, who as somebody's like that. I know we have ugly portions of our community, but we have some beautiful portions. And I felt like what Misha Green did, or what she did, in some ways was beautiful, but in a lot of ways, in majority of the ways, it wasn't. Because the situation of her trying to get her message across came at the expense of taking the agency away from people who are gay, intersexed, people who are dark skinned, people who are possibly white allies. It took so much agency, so much autonomy, so much work and spirituality from these others. So you could tell a black narrative of stay woke when really you're not. You're more closed-minded than anything. Her work was more closed-minded than anything. It really was. Her work was more closed-minded than anything. And I know people often say, well, we're talking about the black system of abuse between families. She didn't even do that good either. She didn't even do that well. Jonathan Majors got just punched on his father for a couple of times. Then after that, he admitted to Letty that he thought that was abuse, that abuse was love, which was really sad, personally. And what made me think that Tick may have had a more deeper mental problem than what is. But you see the cycle and circle of abuse. That was told very well that's the reason why Monterose is the way he is because his dad abused him. But there was no agency to solve it. There was no reason or issue to solve it. Except for, George may not be your daddy. And that was her way of or George may be your daddy, or I may not be your daddy. That was the only way you could solve it? Come on. This is why you didn't win the Golden Globes. I hate to say I told you so, Misha, but I told you so. I told you so. I told everybody so. When you, like I said, why, you have all this conglomerated into your show, but you managed to piss off white liberals too. Okay. And no offense, white liberals have saw themselves in Christina. As crazy as I want to say, white liberals have saw themselves through Christina. And when you painted Christina Braithwaite as the devil, you lost it. You told everybody through Hippolyta's line saying, sometimes I just want to kill all white people. You lost your shot to do anything decent around them. I mean, hopefully season 2, if she does get a season 2, we'll get it right. I will be doing news reports on season 2 along with some of my videos with this. And I will be doing another issue on how she failed black mothers as well too. But I mean, I'm kind of sad about this a little bit because I wanted this black woman to win as a win for all of us, but it wasn't. And it wasn't a snub. There was other black people who won, other people of color who won. It wasn't a snub. It just was somebody who had 10,000 ideas and couldn't stick with the one that they had. And that was the failure of Misha Green. That was. And it was a deal of, as well too, trying to tell a story at the expense of other marginalized people. And that's going to have a backlash. That's going to have a backlash when keeping it woke goes wrong. Well, that was my thoughts about everything. I know if I was all over the place, sorry. I'm trying to get myself in line with these scripts and when I write them and stuff like that. I just had to be kind of deep for a moment here, to let some people know that you're not always going to get what you want. Not everything that's black content is always going to be an A1 winner. But I pray that season 2 will do well. I will be keeping up with some season 2 news, and things like that. I do have other shows that I will be doing. Like I said, I'll be doing the Xena thing as well too. I will be doing other content. I will be doing anime a little bit too, and the issue with anime and people of color who are in anime as well too. I mean, they did Mr. Popo on Dragon Ball Z so dirty. Um, you know, I'll be doing a lot of things, but I just got to sit and reflect on, wow, how wrong this was and what happened. And I think we all need to, as black people, if you're woke, be woke, stay woke, be happy, but find a balance and know who your enemies are versus not knowing who your enemies are. Know things, educate yourself in history, and that's all you could do. That's all you could do. But like I said, comment, like, subscribe, people. I have links to the Nerdist with Journey's comment, as well as to I will try to find a link. I think if it will be below for the Spotify, the podcast with Misha saying what she said. Yeah, it's just it is what it is. But comment, like, subscribe, everybody. Thank you. Bye.